I think you bring up a really good point, and I think a concrete exercise that would benefit a lot of men, and I think about often, all the things in your life. Where are you very good, and what areas are you weak? Do you lack stuff? And there's no room for ego here. Basically, every man has a set of things that he has a master over, and a bunch of things that he's not so good at. And as you said, delegating is a strength to say, you know what, in these four categories, I'm golden, and I can continue to rely on myself. And
Yeah.
in these other areas, whether it's managing my money, dating, making travel plans, family issues, etc., I need more help. And it's personal leadership to reach out to others are who've chosen to dive deeper in those areas and learn from their expertise. It's not about being entirely self-reliant and being isolated from other men. Leadership is actually aligning yourself with experts.
And not necessarily being the smartest
Right.
at everything or being the most talented at everything. He simply makes the wisest decisions, which almost always involves a team around you and being able to go to the right people to get the right things done.
Yeah, they've done studies. IQ is not a determination of leadership because sometimes the ego can get involved. A lot of Fortune 500 CEOs, and I've met a few of them, they're not necessarily rocket scientists, but they know what needs to be get done. They know where to get the information, and they know what they don't know. And they basically are very organized in their thought process and don't lose sight of the goal. And quote unquote hire help to build strength to the organization.
Right. Well, one way of looking at this, if really these two things scientifically go into leadership, boundaries and decision making, would be to say that in using your boundary to be strong, you would always be making decisions about the alignment with someone else I'm about to have. Does it definitely benefit me? It must. And does it definitely benefit them? It must. And that's a kind of what medical doctors call paternalism, fatherliness, making sure that you are doing right by somebody else. And that actually branches into the decision making piece, which is that every decision we make has a contribution that comes from our conscience or ethics, but also a contribution from our intuition or shrewdness. Okay. And when I talk about my model, Mind OS, I talk about how these two things in equal amounts, ethics and intuition or shrewdness, if you have an equal amount of both, then you have wisdom. The more wisdom you have, the more you rise to leadership. You know, one other little proviso about leadership, recognizing it in others, sometimes you might notice that the world is unfair, and that's just the way things are. So there'll be some other men who are in leadership position and have a lot of its power, but aren't so mature, don't have such good boundaries, and maybe aren't so wise. And yet they still have this title, this leadership title, and maybe undeservedly so. Your way of looking at that kind of situation is to envision it like a child with a gun. How do you deal with that person? It's like dealing with a child with a gun. Distract them and snatch away the gun.
Oh, very good.
That might be like you distract your narcissistic, boundaryless boss with some project. Meanwhile, you're looking for a better job, and then you grab that new job. That's taking the gun away.